So, I might say, and I know that you are curious about where this process is going. You may be curious about where this process is going. It's quite possible that you are curious about where this process is going, and so that's a pace of something, in fact, that's actually occurring in the person. And so that gives you credibility as the hypnotist. You're really gaining credibility with the person. And so you can use the universal quantifiers, and the more that you're able to be feeling that you're relaxing, the more that you can relax. Well, I said, as you're sitting there, the more that you can feel that you're relaxing. As you listen into your heart and feel your heart, the more that you can lengthen your inspiration. Okay, so that more is a quantifier. Okay, so you are actually, the more that something happens, the more that something else occurs. If you can get something like that going, then that's like using the analog that's occurring to, and as the process of the analog unfolds, there's other conscious processes going along with it. And you can, as you're sitting there, you can go all the way into trance. Okay, again using a universal quantifier, all the way. Okay, so that good idea to be making sure that you're fitting the words in. Actually, that are the words that are the main, fitting in words into the main drive unit of the brain, and that you're choosing words that are driving words, so that you want to be using the vestibular system to go inside, to start to feel the earth drawing you in to its centre, right? In again. As you start to float back in time to some moment where maybe you were at the beach, or you could just say something general, back to some place that you've been before. Good idea for someone to go back to something that's a resourceful feeling inside themselves. You'll want to, and the person may have questions about what hypnosis is, and so you'll want to share with them some things, and actually whilst you're sharing with them what it is, they're happening, this is happening, so that you can say, well, maybe you could remember a time in the past when you were driving somewhere in your car and suddenly you arrived there, and there was a sense of time expanding. Okay, so actually this is a universal experience. Most everybody has experienced an altered state of awareness, and so you'll want to check to see that the person is able to go into the process. Somebody who's finding it difficult to go into the process, generally there may be a state that they accessed sometime in the past that helped protect them from something, and that actually was a state where they went into themselves. And so this kind of a person's always wanting to be on the outside, kind of fidgeting and doing things on the outside quite a bit. So you'll want to reframe things for the person, and you may say to the person also that it's possible that you may be wondering what degree and level of relaxation that you can reach today, and that each time that we do this you can be building on this state, that this state can become an anchor for the next time that we're doing this. And you'll notice that there's a pause between the statements that I'm making, and that makes more like a hypnotic state start to occur. Okay, so you'll be using your voice this way. Your voice will become a little softer, a little more drawn out, and you'll be imagining truly that even you somewhat are going inside yourself. So if there was two people there, somebody can be watching the other person, and they can also be going into trance whilst they're watching the other person. So you can use your own body to encourage that state of relaxation. And you can be framing things with your language to embed commands as you feel the need to want to blink. Allow your eyelids to close. Okay, and so then you're watching and you're seeing to what degree this is occurring, and then when it's not occurring, okay, that's important that you pay attention. So then you would say, and it's all right that you may decide to have your eyes open for the moment. So now what I've done is I've set it up that it's possible that you may close your eyes in a little while. The main thing is that the more that you're able to take a person into themselves, the more they're travelling inward, the more that perhaps they're listening to the sound of the surf breaking on the beach, and that a person has the ability to turn the volume up on the sounds of nature, like the sound of the surf breaking on the beach. Mostly you are wanting to create a quiet state in the person so that you can then be ready to work with this person. Ways of knowing that you've accessed a state of trance. Person's eyelids will be generally a little droopy. You'll notice that the face is a little more saggy. You'll notice that the person's kind of really quite relaxed and slumping just a little bit. You'll notice that any movements that you ask of the person, they'll be more like unconscious kind of movements actually, like this more. Leverage induction would be to go over to the person and to frame something occurring with something else. So for instance, a leverage induction might be the person puts their hand up, or you hold the person's hand up, and which hand you'll know. I always ask the person to visualise something. Go back and visualise something. Okay, the person's visualising something, and whilst they're visualising that, okay, they're kind of a little bit distracted. So this hand easily can come up, and so then I say, and as your hand begins to float ever so gently down toward your knee, you can be relaxing. With each distance that your hand falls, you can be relaxing more and more and more. And take some time out now to feel yourself relaxing and going all the way into trance. And that you'll have the ability to hear this information in a relaxed state. And it's going in a manner that you can remember and recall this later on. And take some time now. And so basically what you've set up is, as the hand's moving down, the person's relaxing more and more, and you've marked this out, and the person's got something to mark it out for themselves actually. And then to gain credence you might say, and you may be wondering at what level of relaxation you can reach here today, because that may be something that's true, and the main thing is that can be then a pace inside the person, because the main thing is you're always wanting to pace, and as you are sitting there quietly, feeling your heart beat and feeling the earth and gravity drawing you into its centre. So, and you have the ability to mark out words like in to its centre, and I know that you can feel more relaxed and more. So now, and the more that you're using an analogue, in fact, that's going in this way, the more the person actually goes into quite a relaxed state. Now, in the past, Bernheim, one of the founders of hypnosis for the medical world, he would really just be quite commanding actually. He would just say, okay, close your eyes and start to relax. And he just would command the person to do this. The main thing is that you are wanting to harness this person's will to be behind this. And so that you'll be wanting to say, as much as you and I are working together here on this process, and you've used the word here, of course here is involving a word that's spatially, meaning, in this moment. However, the word here is also phonological ambiguity for actual hearing. And so if it was that you were using, you absolutely want to be using some auditory predicate certainly, so that the person is listening to you whilst you're talking about the process of hypnosis. You'll want to be using predicates, in fact, that reinforce your ability to be with your client and lead your client into wherever it is that you're leading the person. Sometimes maybe you're guiding them simply so that they are having an experience of being relaxed. And sometimes maybe you'll want to do something then, or the person will want to do something when they're at that relaxed state. We have access to many things, in fact, when the body's very in this quietened state. You could pick through, find tactile, kinesthetic and visceral programs that are coming through the body. So if you're able to join things together with as and while, this is a stronger way to join things together, because as something is happening, something else is occurring. As you are sitting where you are, listening to the sound of my voice, you are learning more about the process of hypnosis. So while this is occurring, something else is occurring, and actually the type of balance. So when you're saying as or while or during, you're bringing in the semicircular canals of the vestibular system. The sacral and the otolith in the vestibular system, which is involving the horizontal and the vertical, right, giving that our ability to maintain that, and this is called the static labyrinths. When you are joining things together and you are sitting there and you are listening to the sound of my voice, that's a way of joining things, of course. However, as or while is much stronger, and is just bringing in that component of my vestibular labyrinths that's involving static balance, whereas while or as or during, as words joining things together, is bringing in the semicircular canals. That's involving balance while moving. So now the strongest way to join things together is this process of overlapping. As something happens, something else happens. This is creating much more cause and effect. Okay? So you're wanting to harness this idea of using cause and effect. I remember the first time I started to learn about hypnosis, and I think that the process truly is your ability to be working with others. Once you hear this information, truly to start to work with yourself and work with others to develop the expertise.
David, once the person is, you're working from the general, using the Milton model, you use that to induce the hypnosis, and then once you do the work, do you still stay with the general? You just keep the structure so that it's general, so that their mind is fitting the pieces, or do you ever go to a specific? What if it's something real specific?
Yes, you would then go to the specific possibly. However, good idea to be somewhat in the general a little bit, because then the person is much more able to attach to their ongoing experience, the meaning. Mm-hmm. And that way you can be very elegant and streamlined yourself. Because if you get into content, it can be much longer. The whole process can be much, much longer, actually. And that what I'm asking you to do is to provide the structure for the person to go through the process themselves. So before you have the person enter into trance, good idea for them to check out and be aware of their surrounds, where they are in this place and this time. And you'll be wanting to use vestibular predicates to go back to a moment in the past when you were at the beach, to suspend the present moment. So now, suspend, this is a vestibular word, okay? And actually I'm using words, actually fitting them into the main drive unit of the brain to be doing the things that I want to actually occur. You'll want somewhat of a suspension of the present moment, so that the person's moving away from this present moment to be able to be in a more of a dissociated state. I might do a little bit of an induction with everyone just to, at the very end of this little piece here, and then we'll do a couple of exercises. Let's talk just a little about the Milton model more. We've talked about nominalizations, using unspecified verbs. We've talked about using universal quantifiers, and I know you can go all the way now into trance. Okay, using universal quantifiers, modal operators. Notice that you can't open your eyes if that's true, or using modal operators of possibility. That's a modal operator of necessity. Can't, won't, don't, should, must, might, could not, would not. All of those modal operators are modal operators of necessity. In being able to convince someone and the power of persuasion, sometimes it's a good idea to allow the person choice. Using a modal operator of possibility, you may like to. I wonder if we could go back to that moment now. Okay, so I wonder if possibly we can go forward when it is that we've sorted through this piece here now, and that we're building each piece with some strength, realising that this is the foundation of the things that are to come. So using a modal operator of possibility, you may like to, I wonder if. Okay, so that's allowing the listener choice, and we enjoy choice, so it's a good idea to be fitting choice in. You may like to close your eyes as you're listening to this. That's allowing the person choice, and then the possibility that doesn't occur, then that's allowable. You see.
What about if you feel like?
If you feel, yes.
If
you feel like you can, and then make in better command. You can feel like you can move even lower and lower. So you're making sure that you're using your verb tense, in a correct manner. In the past, was, happened, while. You're able to use your verb tense to make, so that the person's experience back there in the past is what it is that you want, and accept when you want to using verb tense to bring that stuff into the present. Anything that you see occurring in the person, you can link that to something else that's occurring. So as you're nodding your head, you can go further and further into trance as you are feeling yourself nodding your head. So the more that you are able to take a person out of what their primary representational system is into the other senses, you're going to be creating an altered state. So now, what is hypnosis?
Changing from one transcending from one state to another.
Yes, okay, so hypnosis is a change of state. Okay? Mm-hmm. And so either hypnosis is occurring all the time or it's not occurring at all. Right. Because anything can change your state. Many things can change your state.
So you listen to a person's predicates for a while to establish what their main representational system is, and then when you're speaking with them, you're using their other lesser ones.
Right.
Lesser used ones.
Yes.
Why is it, or let's see, I've seen people hypnotized that they'll be straight as a board, between two chairs, or for audiences, in for fun, or bring people up and they'll just do silly, fun things.
Yes.
And I feel like, not so much because I'm not willing, but I feel like if that were me up there, I wouldn't be doing that. Unless I was just doing it just to go along with what everybody was saying. I wouldn't be in that changed state. So I've always thought that. So why is it that some people, they look like they did it very easily, and I think, well, I don't think that I would change that easily. What's the difference? And I've done several kinds of hypnotism, all of it's been just like meditation, not this really deep stuff.
Yes.
Or people different subjects, I mean...
Yes. Some people are more easily susceptible and suggestible. Others are easily able to go into the depth of themselves. I would say to myself that it's a good idea to have this ability truly to be able to be so relaxed, in fact, that you can go very much into yourself. And always it's not that you would be thinking that the person is not thinking of doing something, because this is all about the person thinking about doing this, and the hypnotist setting it up in a manner that the person thinks they can do this. You see, you're always working with the person's will. So it would be working with you and your sense of ability to be able to sing, for instance, right? If you were to come out and we were to do a little something and where something was to occur, then you were to sing, right? It doesn't just happen like that. It happens because of the things the hypnotist has set up for that to occur.
For example, I went to a hypnotist for a series of times, and I was, as far as I know, as consciously as I know, I was extremely willing to have him do this. I was paying him to do this, and I wanted him to have me tranced, to bring me to another state and to bring in a...
Okay, so this is a cause and effect violation, you see, the way that you are framing things. It would be a good idea to go there with the thought that you would be doing this and that this person would be helping you facilitate this. But the main thing is that you would be doing this, not that this person would be doing this to you. Okay?
He expected him to be able to help me do that.
Should be able to. The main thing is, first of all, you are really expecting that you can help yourself in the process of doing this. You see, that's a cause and effect again. Violation.
I was very willing. I did it, I said, but I felt like, nothing's happening.
The other thing is there needs to be, good that we're talking about this, right? There needs to be some reason, and there needs to be will, and there needs to be some purpose, actually.
That's what I'm telling you. I had all this will and reason, and nothing happened.
Okay, because you see, was it necessary to be in a cataleptic state? And if you were in a cataleptic state, would you then be able to be in a mode where you could recall information from this state? Or would you be abstinent, like a child becomes, at that level?
However we would have done it would have been okay with me. I just wanted the results, the outcome.
Okay, so what was the outcome that you wanted?
I wanted to lose weight. And
that's why many people come.
I went to, I thought I could change my idea about eating a little bit and change my set point and.
No, my father's got quiet.
Yes, there's some things that you can do like that for sure. Yeah, you would have to have something specific that you had in mind. If I were doing it, I absolutely would have something specific. We would have something specific in mind that was something that was ecological for you to be able to do. And the main thing is that
hypnosis itself is what I'm asking about. I just feel like when we're doing this and you're teaching us to do it, why does it work with me the way it works with me and other people the way it works with other people? What kind of degree of success are we likely to have?
Okay, so success has to be based on some outcome that's achievable.
Like I didn't have the outcome I went there for, so I consider that not successful.
Okay, so now, if I were working with you right now, Tanya, I would have to figure out what the outcome is. And because it's possible that some of that was achieved. And not only that, but you see, it's possible that somebody goes there, because they're wanting to feel better in life themselves. And truly the process is getting along with their father, or getting along actually with some, they just want to be feeling better and they come to you wanting to feel better. However, it's actually about this process over here that needs to be fixed up. Truly, there's a great deal that goes into the person's insight, who it is that you're working with, and then what's said also. It's possible that many things are set up. Mostly hypnosis is the effective hypnosis will be excellent if you can give post-hypnotic suggestion. and that the suggestions that you give the person are suggestions that can be carried out, that are ecological, it's more likely then that the person will go through this process to get something. So giving a person a series of instructions is one way of creating, hypnosis, actually. The other thing is, it's possible for someone to completely have forgotten everything that occurred. And sometimes, like as a hypnotist, you're giving the person instructions to have amnesia, to be able to forget all things you'd love to forget. Upon waking up, you'll have forgotten what it was we went through, mostly. This will make sure that what's in that person's unconscious mind they'll be just acting on stuff. So it's possible for you to go to someone and completely have amnesia for what it was that occurred there, and for it to really be pasted into the unconscious mind, so that then you're just carrying these things out. Hypnosis works when you're given a set of instructions that will enable you to do what it is that you want to do, and that these instructions are ecological.
You want to do a little induction?
Well, I think we'll just finish doing this.
Already?
Doing this. I mean, we've been doing that kind of. Okay.
I'm ready to do it.
Just pen it down.
So it's always a good idea to begin with something that's already occurring, right? And connect that to what you want. Okay. Mind reading, as we talked a little about, really gives us credibility. If generalized, it gives the hypnotist credibility. So my guess is that you've discovered a resource that you thought you didn't have. It's possible that you're sensing that that's occurred. More than likely it probably has occurred in some way, so then you're gaining credibility. Okay? It's a good idea also to lose the performative, and it's good that you can relax all the way. Now, we're not knowing how it's good, why it's good. Fitting that in, again, as allowing the person to attach their ongoing experience, what the meaning of it is.
I think it'd be great to do a long induction on us about everything that we totally, completely understand about hypnosis.
Okay, this is happening.
It's in practice.
So a good idea to make sure that you're using the time frame for something to occur, so that you're saying, and you can go all the way now, even further into trance now. Okay, so you're actually pacing a moment of time when that can occur. So it's a good idea to be making sure that you're fitting in the time for something to occur, when it'll occur. And after you wake up from this, you'll have the ability to have forgotten all things that you'd love to forget. And you'll be waking up feeling fresh and relaxed and ready to start. And I know that you may be aware of the things we're talking about as you realise how it can be used. All of those words are awareness predicates that are non-sensory specific, so that you have the ability to be non-sensory specific sometimes when you're figuring out how it is the person's doing something, that you can be using words which are not sensory specific. Stacking is the process of using presuppositions and stacking in presuppositions for success. And I know that the more time goes by here now, the further you're moving away from that stuck state. And that when you wake up, this stuck state will be solved. You'll have the answer. And that the answer is to seek harmony and peace, and to do unto others as you would have done to yourself. And to use phonological ambiguity as you hear phonological ambiguity, like for instance the word light, that you are feeling light in order to be able to see in your mind's eye. So the word light can either mean actually that you're feeling light, or it can mean actually that you're involving light as in what you would see, and the word weight, that you feel this word weight, and that the word weight is phonological ambiguity. It can either mean the physiology of being held back, which it means totally, or actually the weight that somebody's carrying around, or to think of what it is that you would feel as you write, or I can be phonological for I or I. A part of. Does that mean actually something that's separate, or does that mean actually something that's joined? This creates ambiguity, and it creates more of a place where you can sometimes occupy the person's conscious mind while they're thinking about what the meaning of it is. You can be going on with something else. So sometimes you do have to occupy the conscious mind with something. If you notice that the conscious mind is really distracted, then you can give the conscious mind something to do. Ask the conscious mind to be lifting a finger up every time you say a word, and that you're asking that person to be paying attention and listening to that word. When that word comes up, to be lifting their finger, so they're giving them a job to do, and then you're going on with something else. Another thing that you could do so that you can completely be having the person totally inside is setting up an idiomotor dynamic with the person, so that you're asking them to lift a finger, that a finger will lift all by itself for yes, or a finger will lift all by itself for no, or you'll feel a twitching sensation in that finger for yes, or your hand will lift, and actually you can give alternatives. If you think the person's kind of polarizing a little bit, you can give alternatives to the person. You might like to lift a finger for yes, or it's possible that you may find not in your head a comfortable way of saying yes, and you're watching what's occurring with the person, and you're going on to something else, and you're making sure that the person's going through with that, and you're being very flexible at being able to generate what it is that you want. So the word left, or the word duck, or the word nose, or the word here, these are words that are creating ambiguity. And I know right now that you can feel that you can allow yourself to relax more, and maybe you can go back to some time in the past where a 6 looked like an upside down 9, and how you knew the difference between a 6 and a 9. Is that still?
Yeah.
And you can remember looking at the world upside down through your legs. And maybe you were lying on your back, or perhaps some of you are sitting, and that you remember looking up underneath the table and seeing the structure of the underneath of the table, and that you have the ability to lengthen your inspiration through your nose as you access a state here today that you're feeling relaxed and calm and at peace, that you can use this resource tomorrow up on the high elements, and that you can use this resource in some moment that's to come here in the future. Maybe this is a resource that you can use at home. I like to lengthen the inspiration through your nose and feel your feet relaxing, feel your consciousness shifting all the way up your legs to your tummy, and that you start to breathe in to your tummy. Listen to the sound of your voice here that's slowing things down a little more. Perhaps you can imagine that you're at the beach for a moment. You listen to the sound of the surf breaking on the beach. But you have the ability to turn the volume up. And as you look down along the beach, you start to walk down towards the sea. You feel the sand underneath your feet as you walk. Something like the sand is dry. At the time that you get down close to the surface, you feel the sand is wet. Sometimes you walk all the way down into the surf and feel the water lap past your ankles, brushing up the beach. You feel the ebb and the flow and the draw of the sea as it draws the sand out from underneath your feet. Turn to face the sun. Feel the sun penetrating your skin. You turn to walk back along the beach. Feel the soft sea breeze. You feel the sun penetrating the skin on your back. You have the ability to imagine the inner workings of a machine. Maybe this machine is biological, maybe it's mechanical. You see things going in, coming out, going in, coming out, sliding further along, coming back. Sometimes you have the ability to zoom in on some part, magnify it really big, and then zoom out and hover around. Sometimes you see parts moving down and up and down and up. Sometimes you are seeing something swinging backward and forward and backward and forward. Sometimes you are seeing things permeating through the very core of your being. Perhaps there's some sounds there. The sound of this inner machine working, and that you have the ability to turn the volume up